Hello world, it is me again. I'm back in the city. We've had a pretty productive day. Kind of what I want to talk about today because it's kind of the opposite of what I've been saying the last few days. Um, so I took a mini passenger van, like 12 people. I thought it would be like the fastest and the most convenient way to get here. Turns out I was actually crammed for like 4 hours and wasn't as luxurious with space to work as I had hoped. But funny enough, I actually ended up doing so much work on just my phone. I took my phone and I was, you know, talking to ChatGPT and I was working on Canva with my iPad and things like that. And I got my whole design deck for the whole app suite that I'm working on. I got um, I got like the whole wireframe backend of the apps, at least the two ones that I'm planning to launch very soon, fully drawn out. And then I was able to actually also plan my trip, my day out here, and my next 2 days. So it's just interesting how those like 2 days in this beautiful paradise getaway where I just like slept and ate, and then in 3 hours on a minivan with 11 other people, I was able to get so much work done, right? So I thought I'd talk about that a little bit. Just the idea that when I was telling you guys to like not do stuff, that's really it wasn't like, hey, stop doing everything and be lazy or something. But it is. I think this was the example of what I've been trying to talk about. You know, when we work with the clarity and the focus that comes from stepping back and being in alignment and really understanding our motives and intentions behind everything we do, then we work way more efficiently and we can get so much more done than we can imagine. There's this law called the Parkinson's law. I don't know if you guys have heard of it. If you haven't, it essentially just says that time changes depending, or the amount of time it takes to finish work kind of changes depending on how you make it. So if you give a task 8 hours, it's going to take you 8 hours to do it. At the same time, you give it 2 hours, you're probably going to get it done in 2 hours. And it's hard to explain with logic, but it just kind of reminds me of one of my favorite characters of all time, Doctor Who. Because it is ultimately, time is perceptive, at least based off of you know quantum physics. That's really how we look at it. Time is not absolute. And one of my favorite quotes about time is by the 10th Doctor. I think it was David Tennant. He says, from a non-linear perspective, time is like a big ball of wibbly wobbly, timey wimey stuff. And I think that's really the best way to explain um, how things work. Because I'm sure all of us have experienced days where, an 8 hour day of work feels like 3 days, and sometimes feels like a minute, and so I've heard somewhere that the more you enjoy doing what you're doing, the less you seem to notice the passage of time. But at the same time, like something like Parkinson's makes so much sense to me because you are giving it conscious attention, and it's a sense of awareness and it's a sense of conscious timing of yourself, especially as someone, who's neurodivergent, with severe ADHD and also just generally very distracted and hyperactive. I think having these blocks of time has always been great for me. And something that I've been really doing a lot and it's worked a lot for me is I believe it's called deep work. And it's basically carving out 2 to 4 hour blocks of time. For me, it's usually earlier in the day. That's why the van works so well. It's early in the morning when I'm still fresh. It could be in the middle of the day or evening or night, depending on who you are and how your brain works. But you carve out these very solid blocks of time and you decide to finish something within that time. And that means no distractions. That means put your phone on DND. Don't take phone calls. Don't go looking for that snack. Don't go checking the email. God forbid, don't check the news. ever if you're trying to do something productive. but um, but yeah, if you do these chunks and you can recognize for yourself, if you try it out for a few days, you will see the difference and you will notice how much more you get done in those fixed blocks, and then you can actually free out so much more of your time for the day to be able to do stuff. So the whole old world logic of the more you work, the more you get done is actually not very true. And I remember this because I've always kind of freelanced and been self-employed and been running my own businesses, and whenever I've needed to, I've worked part time at different places. And very often, when I do those part time jobs, I feel like I'm just wasting 8 hours sitting around. But then, when I'm working on my own schedule, I can get work done in about 3 to 4 hours. And then I'm kind of chilling and I'm still making the kind of work that I want to make. And I'm still making the kind of money that I want to make. And a lot of people have now really started following this, and it's becoming more public and more available to all of us to really recognize and make the best of it. Again, this all stuff sounds a little woo woo if you've not already been kind of updating yourself with a lot of this stuff. But if you haven't, I urge you, just try these things. You might have a full time job, or you might be a full time student, or whatever, but give yourself like 2 hours on the weekend for a personal project and see how that zeroed in 2 hours actually benefits you. And try everything for yourself and experiment with it and see how it works and see how it feels and see what you think about it. Don't take my word or anyone else on YouTube or wherever else's word for it. I'm just doing this because I think these things have helped me wonders, and I hope it helps some of you guys too. And yeah, with that, I'm actually gonna go take a dip after this, reward myself for getting work done in the least expected way possible. Uh, and I will check back with you guys tomorrow. I will check back on a bunch of more exciting updates. I do actually have updates on the app as well as my coaching stuff. But I hope, as always, you guys took something out of this. Feel free to subscribe to my newsletters or the channel, or spread the word if that's something that you feel called to do. But more importantly, I really appreciate you guys who've been liking or commenting, or giving me feedback in any form. I really appreciate that. It helps me grow. It helps me be able to talk about things that you guys like, maybe do things that you guys like. I think someone mentioned how they like me talking to camera better. While I was doing those little bit of, I think I put on maybe one, but I shot like two more videos where I don't speak. So now I know what people like more, and it's the same with topics. You guys tell me what you like. I can really dig more into those subjects. My brain kind of just like bounces everywhere all the time. So, um, yeah, I'm trying to do this the best way possible. Share what I'm learning, and hopefully learn a lot more from you guys too. Um, anyway, that's really what I wanted to share about today. Don't think you've ever missed out on time. Don't think it's too late. Don't think that ship sailed. None of that is true. It's all limiting beliefs that society has imposed upon us. You could be in your 30s, well into your 40s, and still starting on your dream, still finding your first true love of your life, still just starting to build your own identity. I don't know. There's nothing wrong with starting over, whether you're 50, 60, 80. Don't let other people's perceptions and limitations restrict what you can do with your life. Anyway, with that, as always, stay happy, stay kind to each other, you know, be creative, and let's all make this place a better place. Let's make this world a better place. All right, I'll see you guys. Thank you. Appreciate you so much.